The next panel discussion topic is Reimagine Knowledge and Learning. For this, we have a very renowned personality from the education fraternity, Dr. 𝗟𝗻𝗶𝗶𝗁 sir. Can we have a round of applause for him? He deserves that, and I think we all know him. Dr. 𝗟𝗻𝗶𝗶𝗁 sir is one of the leading edupreneur of India, an eminent writer and an enthusiastic social crusader. Dr. Gupta has always been conferred with honorary doctorate for his excellence research-based work in the field of education. Wearing many hats, he is a constant source of inspiration for his team, a beacon of hope for the community, and hangmaker of process for the society. Of course, sir, a brief profile is, just this, but you deserve many more. Can we request Dr. 𝗟𝗻𝗶𝗁 sir to come on the dais? Sir is the moderator of today's session. Lunch थोड़ी देर में होने वाला है, but we need a big round of applause for him. Now over to you, sir. The list is here.
A very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We are here to talk about and discuss on a very pertinent topic, reimagine knowledge and learning. We short of time, so I'll straight away go to inviting the panelist, Ms. Sushma Sharma, Director Principal Excellence World School Gurugram, Jasjeet Kaur Jaggi, Principal Doon International School, Dr. 𝗟𝗶𝗶𝗶𝗁, Director Principal from Vrindavan, all the way, Ms. Seema Naidu, Director Earson School Mumbai, Gulshan Kaur, Principal Bhavan Vidyalaya Panchkula, and Mr. 𝗟𝗻𝗶𝗂𝗍𝗓, Head of Business Development for Finance Bureau. Welcome on board. So you'll have to excuse me, not been very fine with my throat. So Time2Grow is the host today, and we are talking about time to reimagine. Why reimagining school education has become necessary. What all need to be done to reimagine school education? What do we understand by reimagining school education? And how we can work for educational development of every child. I think both the topics complement each other. We all understand, firstly, at the outset, I must appreciate and acknowledge the contribution of all of you sitting out here, the educators, who, notwithstanding all challenges, who have risen to the occasion in the last couple of years to ensure that the learning continues unabated. There's so much of diversity in India as such, and particularly in education, from a small school in 4 rooms to a school in 40 acres, to a school being run for charity by a municipality, to a school being run by a corporate house, to a first-time learner, to a child belonging to an affluent family. So how to cater to this diversity? How to ensure that, every child grows and learn together, and like how the kind of resilience we have exhibited in the last couple of years, how we can continue with this momentum so that it becomes a kind of an inertia and we are able to take India on very high pedestal when it comes to at least K-12 education. And we could not have a better time for a new document which has been released after 34 years, National Education Policy, which is a beautiful document. So in the backdrop of the pandemic, the fact that, most of the schools are now tech-enabled, the fact that we have a new NEP document and we are all looking forward, and the fact that we are all here listening and talking about reimagining school education sums it up all. We've been into education for last 75 years, and this happens to be our Platinum Jubilee year. So I have personally experienced being from a technocrat, basically getting into education, that what all does it take for a school head or a principal or a promoter to ensure that, while combating all challenges, the school is able to prosper, to grow, and whatever are the aspirations and dreams of the parents and whatever are the needs of the students, we are able to cater to them all. It's not an easy task. So I really salute all of you and I appreciate your contribution in the field of education. So to begin with, I'll like Ms. 𝗟𝗶𝗶𝗁𝗲, Principal, Doon International, to share her views, and I could see her very excited, and this topic seems to be very close to her heart, and she's been doing some phenomenal work recently. So over to you, that what do you understand by reimagining school education? Is it something to do with infrastructure or technology or pedagogy? How do you analyze and what do you think, and how do you plan to bring that reimagination into your classrooms? Thank you.
Very good afternoon, everybody, and thank you, Anirudh sir. This topic is really a very vast topic. When I was just noting down the points, so it's infrastructure, it's the curriculum, it's the digitalization. Everything has to be reimagined. We need to reimagine everything. Who had earlier imagined that there would be a pandemic, and all of a sudden, we from offline will be shifting to online. We redesigned our curriculums in such a manner that the children are not sufferers, at least that MLL, which I say the minimum level of learning happened. For these 2 years, we made sure that the children at least are learning something, and for that we had to redesign, rethink, make our curriculum. So when we talk about reimagining, sir, it is the infrastructure as well. We cannot ignore that. From, I think, blackboards to green boards to white boards, and now the smart boards. And now children carrying their tablets to their schools. Wi-Fi campus. All this is reimagining. But are we really, the question over here, which I say it's necessity, definitely, it is a mandate. What I say, the Nike issue, just do it. But are we really willing to do this? Are we really willing to redesign our lesson plans to learning plans? Because the traditional method of teaching, we had a typical assessment policy. Everything has to be changed.
Very nice. So you're right, if we have to reimagine, we have to reimagine everything. Everything contributes, how we can think about a good infrastructure. And if I talk about good infrastructure, I don't mean fancy buildings. You can create a nice ambience. You can create a very child-friendly infrastructure at a very, very low cost also. So from pedagogies to the training of teachers to the embedding technology in the system. So I understand you are doing it all. So I like to move to Ma'am Gulshan Kaur, that what is her take for reimagining school education?
Thank you, sir, for the question. I think all the educators here, we need to really understand one thing. Why is there a need to reimagine education? Is that the purpose of education has changed? No, not really. What the purpose of education was to, make a good human being and prepare him for all the struggles of life, or for that sake, help him achieve to his fullest potentials what NEP starts with. The question is in context now, because India is a country very young. The median age is 28.4 years. And if we look into the employability, we find we have large number of unemployable youth. Now, are they not educated? They are. Then where is the gap? Hence the need to reimagine. So here we are to see what learners are we producing. Are we producing learners who are not able to relate or map their skills to the needs of the industry? Or are we producing just the ones whom we call it so-called educated? So there is a need to reimagine education here. Hence, when I talk about reimagining education, I'm talking about concept, I'm talking about mapping the skills, and I'm talking about bridging the gap between the needs of the industry with the quickly changing employability landscape, and at the same time, helping them grow with life skills.
Very
So
nice.
maybe that is what reimagining of education at this point of time in context of India doing.
Yeah. So you mentioned two very important points, and you talked about what is the purpose of education. And I can recollect one anecdote when a teacher was asking the students in a classroom, "Beta, what do you want to become?" Generally, we see teachers or the parents asking. So every child was talking, "I want to become a pilot, an architect, or scientist, whatever." So one child, he tells the teacher, "I want to be happy." So teacher tells that child, "Beta, I'm asking, what do you want to become?" The child again repeated that, "Ma'am, I want to be happy. When I grow up, I want to be happy." So the teacher tells the child, "Look, my dear, probably you do not understand the purpose of education." And the child replies, "Ma'am, I understand, but probably you do not understand the purpose of life." So let's not have the education jinxed in certain, terms of degree or qualification. And second very important thing, what you mentioned and what I strongly believe in, that it's not the degree or it's not the certification, it's the skills what matter now. It's not about marks, it's about making a mark in life. So now gone are the times, even if you see all the MNCs, they are not hiring people on the basis of their qualification or basis of their skills or degrees. They are hiring the people on the basis of their skills. So if we have to bridge this, academia and an industry gap, we have to really work on the skills in the classroom.
So just a line to be added, it's no more your degree-based resume, it's your skill-based resume.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I strongly believe that, a journey of a child from school to college to university and ultimately into job or business has to be seamless one. So if we are able to work on the skills of the child at the very formative stage itself, I think, we won't have this. It's not that we do not have jobs. We are a rich country. Fine. It's just the mismatch between the skills of the students coming out from the colleges and universities and needs of the industry, what we need to, look into. So I like, to bring, Ms. Sushma Sharma here, that we are talking about a happy child and we are talking about the skills. So with this in background, how do you think that, we can work on education development of every child, is it possible, given the strength in the classrooms, to look individually into the personal needs of every child? So how do you think it can be managed?
Good afternoon, everyone. I was watching one video, a very prominent personality from Finland. She was from education. She said, when I was a 6-year child, I was sitting in the class, I knew all my rhymes, and my teacher would teach the same rhyme all over again, and I would be bored to death in my class. So she said, Finland, the #1 country in the world when it comes to education. She said, the time has come that we have to redesign, reimagine our education system. So just imagine a #1 country which is for education is thinking like that. So imagine India, where we are facing with pandemic, we are facing with all the challenges, and the new, very beautiful document, as Sir said, the new education policy. Now, what exactly I feel that for the name of, as Sir said, we are into corporate sector now, education has become a corporate sector. So what we are doing, we are giving so many things in one platter that the platter looks full, but it is not substantial for the child. Why I am saying that? I gave them all the activities, I gave them all the projects, I gave them everything, I gave them a best of infrastructure in my class. But am I able to give that knowledge which my grandfather used to get without all this infrastructure? Am I giving that knowledge to him? Am I taking a lot of time of him being in the class, and I'm testing my teachers, I'm testing my students' ability. So am I going into the right direction to give that education to that child who actually needs something which is of very organic, a very basic one? Just let the child, if I want to teach him something, some vocational training, why a child cannot just go into science, a lecture, and do electrical job? Why can't he just be a carpenter, do some beautiful chair or a table or just a thing he can make? I think we have to redesign in the sense that we have to make sure whatever we are teaching with some, something which he feels, okay, I have created something. The creativity aspect has to be brought in. And the teacher has to be more creative. She has to be an actor. She cannot just go there and teach, show the PPT videos and teach. No, she has to be actor. She has to involve every child who's there in that group or in that class. As I said, there are numbers which is involved. If I don't say something interesting, if the teacher is not able, doesn't know her content, and she just goes and blabbers with a video and PPT description, the child knows, I have already seen it, ma'am. Don't show it to me. So you have lots of challenges. So you have to make sure that with that challenge, the child knows everything. How I become smart, how I make that imagination, how I make that my teaching more creative and more imaginative.
Very nice.
Yeah.
So creativity, I mean, if you talk about 21st century skills, creative thinking, critical thinking, problem solving, collaboration, communication. So while we are expecting the students to have all these 21st century skills, I think firstly we need to have the teachers around us who have all these 21st century skills, and we are already into the third decade of 21st century. So I am sure that, all of us, we are working on the capacity building of the teachers so that their creativity is reflected in the classrooms. And talking about the knowledge, what you mentioned that, we have to be very mindful of the fact that there's too much on the platter, there's too much of knowledge, what is being, thrusted. So we have to understand that it's not about the knowledge. We have to work on the child in a way that the child is able to apply the knowledge, find the application of knowledge. And I believe in KS and A, knowledge, skills, and attitude. Fine. If you have knowledge, it's not sufficient. We have to ensure that child has the skills to apply that knowledge. And if you have knowledge as well as skills, you have to have the right kind of attitude, for the knowledge and, skills. So I will like, to bring Dr. Astha here that, given the fact that there's large number of students in a classroom and they are from diverse background. So do you think it's possible to cater to their individual needs? There can be, very bright students, they are at times not so, like children are little slow learners, they are first time learners. So given the fact that, every child is endowed with different set of skills, so do you think it is possible for any educator to cater to their individual and personal needs in a classroom?
Thank you for this wonderful question, sir. First of all, my wholehearted thanks to Times2Grow media team for making me a part of this vibrant ambience, sparkling program among galaxy of gems, edupreneurs and entrepreneurs. I feel dwarf and short of words speaking in front of so seniors, and I hope you'll correct me and amend me if needed anywhere. If you allow me, shall I stand, sir?
Please, please.
Because we are talking of reimagining, and sir told me there are so many different categories of students and how do entrepreneurs take care of it. So let us start with it. First of all, Namo Narayan everybody. Namo Narayan everybody. Do I meant to be orthodox when I wish you Namo Narayan and not good afternoon? Because he took the topic of reimagining education. So this is reimagining education. Now, we are always taught little things matter, and we always go, and many of our teachers write on the top of the whiteboard or the blackboard, little things matter. And we many of the times use this quote in our DP, little things matter. But nobody of us want to do the little things, because we always want to do big things. Yes? Even our children, they never want to do little things, they want to do big things. So this is what is reimagining education. I need to make my child understand that people, those who do little good things, can change the world. It's a real story. I have Dr. Harsh. He is really associated with us. And he came to Vrindavan once and he was just walking down the street. It was late night after Vrindavan Parikrama. And there was a child, he brought a knife and he said, Lala, wallet nikal. And he was stuck. He found himself angry as well, and he was like perplexed. And he just took out his wallet and he gave it to him. This is because we're talking of reimagining education. He gave it to him and the child went off. And then Dr. Harsh called, hey kid, Lala. He didn't know what Lala is because the child spoke Lala. This was in Braj. We call, Lali to a girl and Lala to a boy. And he, hey, Lala, wait. And he turned back. It's a real story. And he turned back and he said, I feel it's very cold. Why don't you take my coat? And that Braj child came back and he took and Dr. Harsh gave his coat. And he was staying with us only in our hostel. He gave his coat. And then just when the child again went, he again called, Lala. And the child again turned back. And he told, I think, let us go and have a good dinner. And the child, Braj little children running on the street, they're very happy if you offer them something. And he just came along and then Dr. Harsh took him to a good restaurant, ordered some dinner and asked him that I would love to offer you dinner, but my wallet is with you. And that little child took up the wallet and kept it on the table. And then Dr. Harsh said, along with this wallet, I want one more thing from you. And he was enjoying speaking this word Lala because, for him, Dr. Harsh, it was a new thing. And he said, Lala, I want one more thing from you, that is your knife. And the child again took out the knife and kept it on the table. Reimagining education. And then Dr. Harsh brought that child to us in the school. And then somebody sponsored, he himself sponsored the child and the child is with us. And now if you see that child studying in grade 5, one of the top students of the class.
Very nice.
True story, reimagining education. Now, along with it, there are many students which, like in Vrindavan, in schools, I think many of you might be doing, I'm dwarf speaking in front of so many seniors. Many of us might be doing it. There are so many students. One of the sponsors brought 5 street girls to us. They were sitting outside the Vrindavan temples and they said, ma'am, inko padhayenge. They can do good. I want to sponsor the children. I asked them that, okay, why do you want to sponsor these children only? He explained, I am short of time, I have to brief it. So, again, one of my mentors from admission cell, she came and she said, ma'am, just look at these girls. Don't you feel our parents, they may bother that why are these kind of street girls, they are studying with our girls, because we have high income paying family students with us. So the thing we discussed with our mentors as well. Before it was with a child. Now this reimagining is with our team, with our staff. I asked that mentor, I asked my teacher, I said, see, do ever parents come to you and ask you, why do you teach English? Do ever they dare coming to you and ask you, why do you teach science? Why do you teach mathematics? So why should they dare coming to us and ask us, why do we teach compassion? So they won't. So now again those street girls are real example. They are studying in the hostel with the free ship, this and everything. And once you come, you can never imagine that these were the girls when they come. Even that dark tattoo these people have, no? Street slum area children. She had everywhere on her arms, even here, even home. This is written, and now you cannot not imagine. They look like good reputed school children. Reimagining education.
Very nice, Dr. Astha, thank you. So, what she's saying that, we have to reimagine what has not been imagined. There is no harm being, unconventional. And as school leaders, principals, there is no harm in taking calculated risk also. So we do not have to always, follow, the path that, okay, this thing has never been done, or, I remember in 95, I changed the uniform of a school which was, white shirt and blue trousers or skirts to a colorful uniform. And many eyebrows were raised and many questions asked. And this youngster does not understand education. Do you think the school uniform can be a colored uniform? I think probably we were the first in India to have a colored school uniform than the traditional white shirt. So there is no harm in, imagining things what have not been done, but you have to just ensure that whatever we are doing has to be socially acceptable and, and technologically doable these days. So very nice, Dr. Akansha. And another thing, what you mentioned that, we have to ensure that, India had a very, very strong Gurukul system, all of we know. Fine. We should not forget, while we are talking of Finland or Japan or Korea, or we are talking about, whole lot of things happening in the Western world, we have to be proud of the fact, we have to be that, proud of our ethos, of our values. And while, talking about all these emerging technologies from data science to AI to IoT, we should have some space in our curriculum and in overall school environment where we are focusing on values also. And we are talking here about technology, and we all know technology is a double-edged weapon. So we have to ensure that technology is used, not misused. So while we are talking about, reimagining education, and we cannot ignore the financial aspect in a school. Money makes the mayor go. We can have good infrastructure, bringing a lot of technology, bringing a whole lot of school transformation, only if we have, good funds at hand. So which brings me to finance peer that, Mr. 𝗟𝗶𝗶𝗁𝗃 is here, that how do you think you can help the school financially, directly, indirectly, to help them in realize their dreams of reimagining school education?
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. So, well, us being an edtech startup, right, when we started off in the year 2018, the idea was always that let's try to make an impact. Let's try to go ahead and let's create something which nobody had ever done. And the first way to do it was always to ensure that the institutions that we are working with are financially stable. That's the idea with which we started off in the year 2018. And in the first couple of years, we were working with around 200 schools across the country. Most of them were boarding schools, but that's what we started off with. But this idea was always there, that finance shouldn't be the only thing that we are doing. It needs to be something which creates a much bigger impact. So I don't think pre-pandemic, anyone actually heard the word blended learning. Now I'm a part of probably around 200 plus webinars that I've done during the entire pandemic time. And the word blended learning seems to be coming in during every single webinar that I'm doing. But what is the change that we are doing to go ahead and help facilitate that blended learning? That is something that we thought we can come in, we can sort out to change. So that's why we thought, let's not just do fee financing. So fee financing, what we were doing is we are giving the institution the money upfront. They have the revenue, they can go ahead, they can use it to pay their teachers, to ensure that the college and the school is working correctly. What more can be done? One thing that we noticed was schools do not really have a very strong ERP system. We went ahead and we are the only fintech company which built our own ERP system. We built our own LMS system, and we have given it away to all the schools that we're working with free of charge. So schools are saving around 20 to 30 lakh rupees on the LMS and the ERP software. I feel that's a bit of a change that we did. Along with that, what happened was immediately, right, after the first wave, people were all saying, online karenge hum sab kuch, all the studies will be online. But are there devices available? During the first 3 months, there were no devices available online, and whatever devices were there, try buying a laptop in maybe May 2020. It was north of 50,000. The same laptop which was selling earlier for 30,000. How can I go ahead? How can I make a change there? We went ahead, we had a strategic tie-up with Apple, with Samsung, with Lenovo to make sure that devices are available for as low as 25,000 rupees. Has anyone here heard of an Apple iPad today for 25,000? We have it with us. Any student who has a student card at any of the institutions that he is studying in, he can go for an iPad today for an EMI that's as low as somewhere around 2,000. The complete cost is nothing more than 27,000. So that is a change that we brought in to make sure that we are not just talking about blended learning, but we are doing something about it. Along with this, we also have come up with a really cool student card, wherein it replaces the traditional ID card, so it has your school's name on it. And it can be used for transactions anywhere in and around the school, which is completely controlled by the parent. So, agar ek bachche ko stationery leni hai, they have activated that shop. A child can go there, use their ID card to go ahead and make a transaction there. This wasn't available. This is still not available today. So these are things that we thought will be needed in the future. But of course, you guys know better. We will go ahead, we'll help you finance whatever dreams, whatever ideas that you may have. If you feel that, hey, tomorrow, maybe in the year 2023, we need to have VR headsets for our children, I'm willing to go ahead and I'm willing to facilitate
very
that.
Nice, very nice, Ame. And
thank you.
3 points what he mentioned, we have in the recent past seen a lot of parent activism, a lot of parents, they've been talking about the fee for some school heads, fee collection has been an issue. So you can always, be lucky that we have so many of fintech and edtech companies around that you can contact somebody like Time2Grow and who can, make the down payment what you're supposed to collect from the child. And number 2, talking about these gadgets, and pandemic has not only, brought forth the resilience of the teachers and how good as a country we are in technology, but somewhere, it has also brought to fore the digital divide in our country, because not every child was privileged to have those multimedia devices and those tabs. So we have people now who can, help the children get those devices at a very subsidized prices. So very nice. Thank you so much. And now I'd like to, move to Ms. Seema Naidu to understand from her. We were talking about the Indian ethos. We were talking about reimagining school education. We've been talking about that every child is important. So what is your take on, how we can have best of all the worlds? How we can, have that spirit of Gurukuls in our schools? How we can have the best of technologies? And how do we ensure that the child doesn't get flabbergasted in this vast ocean of technology, and we are able to give the child the right blend of values and learning? So you can, whatever you are comfortable, you can speak.
Thank you, sir. And namaskar, namaste. मैं आप सबसे एक निवेदन करना चाहूँगी कि सबने इंग्लिश में और बहुत सारे टॉपिक्स को कवर किया है जो हम लोगों को दिया गया है, but I'm very much comfortable in Hindi to express myself. So please allow me to speak.
Please, we should clap for her.
So, because basically हम लोग सारे टीचर्स और आज यहाँ पे डायरेक्टर बन के बैठे हैं या हम लोग प्रिंसिपल बन के हैं, लेकिन हमने शुरुआत अपनी जिंदगी की तो टीचर से ही की। तो आज मैं यहाँ से इस स्टेज का एक इस्तेमाल करते हुए बोलना चाहूँगी, जो सर ने इधर टॉपिक दिया है बोला, उसमें कुछ और भी चीज़ें मैं ऐड करना चाहूँगी। री इमेजिनिंग, वाकई में ये पेंडेमिक के 2 साल हम लोगों को बहुत टाइम मिला कि हम आज कहाँ हैं, कैसे हैं। हम लोग उसी तरह से बच्चों को पढ़ा रहे हैं, सिलेबस कंप्लीट कर रहे हैं और वी आर रनिंग आफ्टर द कंप्लीशन ऑफ सिलेबस। उसमें नई चीज़ें हम लोग कहीं से नहीं लेकर आ रहे हैं। तो ये चीज़ चेंज होना बहुत ज़रूरी है और ये कहीं कहीं शुरू भी हुआ है, लेकिन पूरी तरह से नहीं। इसमें एक चीज़ मैं एक पॉइंट बोलना चाहूँगी कि नए चीज़ों को तो हम लोग लेकर आए, लेकिन पुराने बातों को भी ख़त्म करें। जैसे कि सिलेबस के पीछे हम लोग दौड़ते हैं कि कंपटीशन करना है, एग्ज़ाम लेना है, तो बच्चों को टीचर्स मगअप कराना, रोट लर्निंग करना और खुद से नोट्स लिखा देना, ये शायद हम लोगों ने बंद करना चाहिए। इसका एक एक्सपेरिमेंट मैंने अपने स्कूल में किया है। क्लास 1, 2, 3 के बच्चों को जरूरत होती है हमारे गाइडलाइन की टू राइट द आंसर, बट उसके बाद हमने बच्चों को कॉन्सेप्ट क्लियर करके छोड़ देना, आप खुद से लिखो। यहाँ ये होता है कि जब हम लोग टीचर से कहते हैं कि बच्चों को खुद से लिखने के लिए छोड़ दो, तो वो नहीं कर पाते, क्योंकि उनको हर एक बच्चे की नोटबुक को चेक करना होगा। तो देयर इज अ टाइम, क्योंकि I don't allow the teacher to sit in the staff room and correct the answer and notebooks, worksheet and answer paper also. तो उसमें उन लोगों ने ये कर देते हैं कि बच्चों को बता देते हैं, गाइड कर देते हैं कि नहीं आप यहाँ से यहाँ तक लिख लो, यहाँ से यहाँ तक लिख लो, और बच्चे मगअप करते हैं। तो क्या ऐसे बच्चे आगे आते हैं? नहीं आते हैं। उन लोगों के कॉन्सेप्ट क्लियर अगर नहीं होंगे तो वो कहीं नहीं आगे बढ़ पाएंगे। तो यही हमारे लिए जरूरी है।
वेरी नाइस मिस नायडू।
इवेल्यूशन क्या, एक इवेल्यूशन के लिए मैं बोलना चाहूंगी, 3 hours एग्जाम, क्या हम बच्चों का लाइफ डिसाइड कर देते हैं? तो इसमें भी चेंज है, तो इसको थोड़ा सोचें और नेक्स्ट टाइम हम लोग इस पर डिस्कस करें।
वेरी नाइस, वेरी important point what she has raised, that we should do away with this rote learning and exam centric approach. As I said, it's not about marks, it's about making a mark. We have so many instances like, Sachin Tendulkar and so many celebrities who were not qualified. They could hardly, pass their schools. Fine. So, but I mean, look where they are. So we have to, there has to be a mindset change. If we have to reimagine, we should not reimagine because somebody else is reimagining. Like no two human beings are alike, no two schools are alike. We should not just follow somebody that, okay, if such school is doing something, let me also do it. Fine. Let's have our own individuality as an organizations, and let's not just follow, let's create, let's reimagine, let's think beyond the conventional, and all for not just our schools or our own self, or any kind of an appraisal. We have to understand that at the end of the day, I mean, the child is in the center. If we have to realize the dream of Atmanirbhar Bharat, if we have to realize the dream of Make in India or Digital India, I think the journey starts from our schools. So I will like all of you to understand that, how important it is for us to work on all these aspects, to ensure that, every child gets the right blend of learning in our schools. Every child gets the confidence, every child, gets the, know-how and the skills on how to apply the knowledge being imparted. And every teacher feels empowered, and every school becomes a happy school. So let's create that environment. And I at times do attend these conferences and these kind of events because I am so happy to see people networking, learning from each other. At the end of the day, so many conferences are being held nowadays. I feel whatever might be objective or purpose of the companies or educators or all stakeholders coming here, at the end of the day, you are a winner because you are taking back something. So
Mr.
very
Anirudh,
nice.
just
Yeah.
to add something, you see, when we all are here, I mean, we are just not to talk about that, yes, we have to make confident children, we have to make them skilled. We should also talk about practical aspects of it. Given our country with a student average strength, the optimum strength given by CBSE is also 40 students. Now with 40 students with diverse needs, how are you going to work with them and address to their individual needs?
Yes.
So here we should work and be very contextual. Let me talk about, one very important shloka of Mahabharata, which probably will give us a solution of how to work with children and address to their individual needs. Learning has to be, designed, learning has to be redefined. Learning is said that a child, as per the shloka of Mahabharata, 1/4 of the learning the child gets from his guru. So that is teacher facilitation. 1/4 of the child learns himself, that is self-facilitation. 1/4 of the learning the child gets from his peers, peer facilitation. And 1/4 is from the environment as he matures out, he gains. So if we make a combination of all this and work towards strategies and pedagogical plans which are addressing to the individual needs of the child by making the learning analytics for the children and grouping them and helping them, do a kind of self-diagnosis, self-evaluation, self-facilitation, so I think we'll be able to meet the learning needs of the child.
Very nice. She has said it all. And the beauty is that we have a whole lot of apps and gadgets, to help achieve this purpose and cause. So thank you all very much. God bless you. Thank you all. It was a wonderful moderating. Thank you.
Thank you so much, all the dignitaries and Anirudh sir, for moderating the session very nicely. And it was, I'm sure it was the very interactive and very interesting topic which we discussed today. So, on behalf of Trinity College London, I would request Sachin Das sir to come on the dais for presenting the token of appreciation to all the speakers. To Dr. Anirudh Gupta sir. Can we have a round of applause? Big round of applause. To Sushma ma'am. Next to Jasjeet Kaur ma'am. Dr. Aastha Bharadwaj ma'am. Next to Seema Naidu ma'am. To Gulshan Kaur ma'am. And to Amy sir. Can we request Anirudh sir to come on the dais for group photograph? Anirudh sir, can we request? Sir, please join us for the group photograph.